Hello and thank you for joining us on the Thursday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Benga Oreshegun. Today on the program, INEC begins distribution of sensitive electoral materials for Ondo governorship election as court sacks Labour Party candidate Shola Ebisheni less than 48 hours to poll. Wike tells Atiku that he has no chance in PDP in 2027. And later on the show, federal government says it needs $10 billion public-private partnership investment in 10 years to achieve 24-hour power supply. I'll be hanging out with Paul Dada and Asuko James. Journalist Hangout starts right now. Now let's begin the conversation. Preparations are in top gear for the November 16 governorship election in Ondo State. On the part of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, distribution of sensitive electoral materials has begun. During an inspection tour of the materials before distribution, the State Resident Electoral Commissioner, Oluwatoyin Babalala, stated that the essence of the tour was to certify all materials intact for transparency. Meanwhile, the Court of Appeal in Abuja has disqualified the candidate of the Labour Party, Shola Ebisheni, from the election with less than 48 hours to the polls. All right, Paul Dada, let's start this way. Let's talk about INEC and let's talk about the preparations. Now that we know that sensitive materials have now been distributed, do you think INEC, how prepared are you? Do you think INEC is ensuring that the Ondo State election goes smoothly?
Well, I hope INEC has learned from what happened in Ondo State. I was in Ondo State for the election.
For the election, okay.
And I think I would call them average, INEC, for the way it went about the Ondo State election. The problems people actually, the usual problems, late arrival of materials in many of the polling units. They had problem with logistics. I think some of the transport operators, whose vehicles they use, failed them and all of that. So I want to believe that they've started very well, distributing the sensitive electoral materials at this time and all of that. But I just hope that they will learn, take care of the logistics, take care of the, make sure that they move men and materials early. Although INEC did something very good the last the election, where the exercise started late, they extended the time. In fact, the time was actually extended generally. So, the usual problems with logistics, you understand. I also hope that INEC will work very well, or the law enforcement agents will assist INEC better this time around. People that normally cause distraction at around voting areas through vote buying. There was what happened in Edo. People brazenly traded votes. In the open. Forget about the fact that they arrested some people. You understand? It was happening freely.
Talking about vote buying.
Vote buying, yes. Under the watchful eyes of law enforcement agents, this actually happened. These are things that actually disrupt elections or even mar the integrity or question the integrity of the process. Like Young Africans I think they had a press conference today or something. They said that this election is a test of the democratic process, and I believe that. So let INEC ascertain that things go on seamlessly. Let INEC collaborate with the necessary stakeholders that will assist the transporters, the security agents, and every stakeholder that will assist in making sure that everything goes on seamlessly.
Asuko, yesterday, these two political parties, they've been throwing allegations at each other. Now, these sensitive materials that are now being distributed, how safe are these sensitive materials, in the face of these allegations, so that the process will not be compromised?
The materials are usually very safe. I'm not sure there will be any political party who want to undermine the process.
But looking at the allegations.
Yeah, I think this election, this Ondo election, I keep saying, is as if we are not really seeing the heat. It's not as hot as what we used to, is obtaining, particularly in 2020. In 2020, I know in our war, 2 people died, when they had APC and PDP had, a clash.
Okay.
And even I remember then, the governorship candidate back then, even alleged that there was an attack on his life. They were trying to attack. But this one has been relatively quiet. So if you're now talking about the process, which is, the sensitive materials being tampered with, I'm not sure the 40,000 security agents that we have will allow that, because every time you are moving the sensitive materials to the different racks before it will now go to the different units, they usually have police officers or security agents. And not just that, I want to believe that all political parties will also have their agents.
Sure.
Trailing these materials to the final destination. So definitely political parties will always want to trade words. They will always want to allege. I'm not sure there's any election.
Politics, the allegations.
Yes, I'm not sure there's any election in Nigeria that political parties will not always allege that something happened. So it's just like this vote buying. People are shouting vote buying. Yaga brought out a report that they've already started vote buying before the vote is up.
Yes, with fertilizers.
Yes, with food and money. Going from house to house, knocking door and saying, you are sensitizing. As they are sensitizing, they are also sensitizing with money. Okay? So, and it is not just one political party.
Yeah.
It's all political parties.
Exactly, it cuts across.
So people should not, when people are alleging, it is not just one political party. It's all. So, but what we want to see INEC do is to ensure that the process, is made free and fair, whereby one political party will not say, INEC actually tilted towards a particular political party for them to win, because it's going to be a tough race.
Okay.
It's going to be a tough race in the sense that the incumbent, this is the first time he's putting his popularity to test.
Sure.
You understand? Unlike the guy in, the PDP, who has been a local government chairman in the past, has been a House of Rep member, and even a deputy governor.
Yes.
When Aketi was, was alive, and in the first term of Aketi. So you can see that it's going to be a tough, contest between those two major political parties. So they will always trade words, they will always allege, they will always, say this and that. So, but all we need is, we don't want people to die.
Sure.
We just want people to go there, cast their votes and go out. And INEC should ensure that the process, is seamless.
Let's talk about Olushola Ebisheni. 48 hours to the polls. Appeal court, judgment overturning the verdict of the Federal High Court. What are your thoughts on this one?
Benga, should it even surprise you?
I'm surprised.
No, it shouldn't surprise you.
Oh, really?
Do you know how this man came in? Ebisheni, he contested the PDP primary election.
Okay.
He came third. Then, August 14, he joined the Labour Party and became the candidate. Meanwhile, there was a candidate whose name had already been submitted to INEC. Now, that was 2 days to the expiration of the 90, the 90 days they had to substitute. So it was there. As of that time, the national body of the Labour Party, Julius Abure led, was saying, we don't recognize this person. This other person, Olorunfemi, is who we recognize. And he muzzled his way, one way or the other. And then the High Court said, look, yes, it happened. He paid 20 million for a second primary, and then even said that that man actually withdrew. Okay. Olorunfemi, he was paid 5 million. But apparently, the appeal court does not think so. The appeal court does not think that a primary election, there was a valid primary election. Now they are going to lose.
Monitored by INEC.
Monitored by INEC. Of course, it has to be monitored by INEC. It was like magic. How do you join a political party, and within the same day, within 24 hours, you become the candidate. Meanwhile, there was a candidate. There was a candidate whose name was already submitted to INEC. See, politicians do all sorts. Maybe they feel the man is probably a strong man, he towers above the other one, and all of that. So I think that Labour Party shot itself in the foot. Don't forget that there was a time the Labour Party used to be very strong in Ondo State.
Yeah,
that was
Mimiko's time. They even won election.
In fact, that was the state where the Labour Party was the strongest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was the strongest. But Labour Party in that state has gone down. And this is even like you are driving tougher nails in the coffin of that party. Now, they don't, as far as the appeal court is concerned, they don't have a candidate. And the truth is that they're not going to be part of this. They're not going to be part of this election. They cost it for themselves. Probably, Ebisheni will still go to the Supreme Court. But by that time, only God knows how many months the incumbent, whoever wins, will have governed. No, and I think it's going to be very useless.
No, what even their camp is saying that it is a fifth columnist that is peddling this rumor. But
that it's not real.
It's not real. But let them go. Definitely, people will still vote for them. They will go through the process, the election process. I think they can still go to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
But that is if they win the election, and then at the end of the day, maybe we will now see another Amechi debacle in our hands. Okay. That is if it happens.
But before we go, let's quickly look at the issue of technology. How prepared is INEC to make sure that INEC is effective, the systems such as the beavers and all other systems work effectively on that day?
Yeah, I know there was a mock accreditation process. They did a mock election and all that, and they scored themselves very high. So, but that is before the election.
Yes.
Usually things like, because nobody's saying network is jamming left, right, center when you are doing this mock thing. So, we want to believe that INEC is ready for this election. The number of people registered voters is just 2 million.
Okay.
Okay. So, we should be able to see the result being counted maybe in less than 24 hours.
Okay.
And all that. So, I believe INEC, the Beavers, is working well because Professor Yakub has been going there several times.
Okay.
So he's ready for this election.
Okay.
Because his own job is also on the line. Because Nigerians are really looking at
exactly.
after the election.
All right, gentlemen, let's move straight to our next conversation. Where the internal rifts in the People's Democratic Party, PDP, remains unsolved. One of them is a seeming rivalry between the Minister of FCT, Nyesom Wike, and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar.